Hello, this is video number 374. Good day here today. Probably about 40 degrees outside. I did my bookkeeping this morning, did a workout, and then I decided it's supposed to rain tomorrow, and I still had some leaves in the yard, so I went out and I raked the leaves up enough so that over the winter, like fungus and mold and stuff doesn't grow under them and kill the grass. So I went out and did that, got a big pile of leaves now out by the curb. Usually what they do for the leaves, they'll collect the leaves before they actually fall off the tree, and then you can't, when you put them out later, they don't come back. And so then in the spring you have all of these leaves that come back up in your yard. Maybe this year they'll get to them again a second time, I don't know. But anyway, I got a big pile of leaves out there by the curb on the road. See what else? Friday went to Get the Lead Out concert, the Led Zeppelin tribute band. Went there Friday night. That was awesome. Went with my son and daughter and his girlfriend and Ken, the guy that I worked for before. Had a good time. It's funny because I started with Ken's favorite Led Zeppelin song, the Immigrant Song. They started with that. He's gone 3 years. 2 of the years that's the first song they started with, so that was pretty awesome. This Friday. Might be going to a bunch of the guys that I used to work with who are retired are going to a brewery in the area. I went 2 years ago to it, Troegs Brewery. It's like a craft beer kind of brewery thing. I used to love Troegs beer. They had this one beer, well, they had a couple beers. One was called Troganator, and had like this, on the label it had like this really weird looking character on it. And they also had Mad Elf, which I really like Mad Elf. That was a holiday beer. That's the last case of beer I bought was Mad Elf. I never actually did get to drink it because that's the case of beer I bought before I quit drinking. Right, the night before I had quit drinking. I was going to drink that beer, but then I had the panic attacks and all that, so I never actually did get to drink it. Let me see what else. Today's December 4th. This has always had a special meaning for me ever since 1980. I started working for the state in environmental resources in 1980 on December 4th. That was no December 2nd. Okay, and I spent the first day or two sitting in the office reading regulations. There was a set of regulations around that time. There was this thing called RCRA, Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. It was a federal act. It's the hazardous waste rules and regulations. It was the act relating to hazardous waste. So the state adopted these rules and kind of like modified them somewhat. And so they had this big thick thing of rules and regulations. So that's what I spent the first 2 days reading and trying to figure out. It was just really boring, and I kept falling asleep. So the third day was a Friday, December 4th, 1980. And so my supervisor decided I should go out with another guy in the office, and you learn a little bit about what goes on. His name was Mike. And so Mike was driving a state car. I got in the car with him, and we went to 2 different landfills. I worked for what was called waste management in the department. Anything having to do with waste is what we were involved in. And at the time, I was a solid waste specialist. Okay, that's what I was when I started working for the state. So I'm riding in the car with him, and we go to these 2 landfills, and we inspect them, which was really weird. I inspected a lot of landfills in my first year of work. Really kind of bizarre, but the day went on. It went pretty well. Mike got it was really muddy at the one landfill, Keystone Landfill, no, Adsco Landfill, Adams County Landfill, and we were wearing boots, and he got his foot stuck in the mud. And he pulled it out, and his boot got stuck in the mud. So I think the guy actually had to come out and help us with that. That was weird. So anyway, on the way back, we're coming back in the afternoon, and it was a decent day. It was kind of weird because I had never really been out in the field before. And we're on this highway. We're going north. It's a 4-lane highway, 2 going south and 2 going north. And we're going north, and there's this on-ramp, and a car was coming on as we were coming by. And Mike hit the brakes really hard. And I thought, why did you hit him that hard? And the car went out of control. And we're going sideways on this highway. and we're sliding along the road, and in the southbound lanes, I hear all these crashes. Apparently, like they're looking over in the northbound lane. What in the heck's going on over there? And we're sitting there sideways, and I was scared to look behind us because I thought we're going to get run over by a semi, and I'm going to die my first day in the field. So we didn't get run over. So we get out of the car, and like there's all kinds of emergency vehicles come, and people were hurt. And there was one person in a pickup truck. They couldn't get him out. They had to bring the jaws of life. And I'm thinking like, oh man, this job is dangerous. So anyway, we were there for probably a couple hours. It was the end of the day. And I went home. At the time, I had been married for like about 1 month. Okay, I'd just been married, and we were living in my in-laws' house, nice big house. I was so distraught. I got back there, and they had this nice fireplace in the family room. So I thought, first of all, I opened a beer, okay, because I was just really, really upset. I started a fire in the fireplace. I forgot to open the flue, and they had like nice white bricks around the fireplace. Well, they turned black. They were like black around the fireplace. The room was filled with smoke, and I finally got the flue open, and it was just a mess. And I turned on the television, and they were on the news as us. Like it was a really big wreck. So we're on the news. I see our car there and everything. Oh wow, this is bad. And I drank a 6-pack of beer in like an hour. I drank it really, really fast. I was so incredibly upset. So anyway, I go to work on Monday, and everybody's like, "Where were you guys Friday afternoon? You never came back." And they had heard about the wreck, I think. And I learned from one of the specialists, the other specialists, that Frank sent you out with Mike. Mike can't see, and he can't. He's next. He probably was legally blind at the time, but he still had a driver's license. So yeah, December 4th really lives in infamy in my mind. That was 37 years ago now. I remember it very, very well. It was I thought, I got to get another job. I've only been at this one 3 days, but this is way too dangerous. But then I learned, like, well, Mike can't see. And over the years, like, Mike still drove, and he would run into things, and he lost his driving privileges because of different kinds of things. Really, really nice guy, but he couldn't see. When he would read things, he'd have to hold them like 2 inches from his face. So that was my first day in the field back in 1980. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. Let me see what the time is here. Since I'm not reading, I got lots of time. Okay, I'm at 8 minutes. Let me see what else. I got a message from someone I have spoken about here before, and he had been in our lives for about a year or two, and he has like a lot of he had taken psych drugs, a good many of them, back when I knew him, and then for a couple of years he sort of disappeared. He had been living in a place for a while. He left there, went somewhere else nearby here for a while, and then I kind of lost track of him. Well, anyway, he sent me a message this morning on Facebook. And I have spoken about him before. He was on a bunch of drugs. I lost contact with him. Anyway, I'm going to meet with him next Thursday. We're going to have lunch, catch up on a lot of things. But he told me he's working with mentally disabled veterans. Okay, where he lives now. He lives near the Lebanon County VA hospital here in Pennsylvania. So I'm thinking, like, VA hospital, they're mentally disabled. We're probably talking PTSD for quite a few of them. And there was a website a number of weeks ago. They were looking for volunteers for the stellate ganglion block treatment thing, and having to do with PTSD. And I contacted them, and I never heard back from them, which is pretty typical of this anyway. So I'm thinking maybe through Todd, this guy, maybe something will you never know. Like I have often said, like, when someone finds the answer to this, it's not going to be like a direct boom, 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 this is it. It's going to be more as an indirect way, almost stumble onto it just by accident. Maybe this is it. I don't know. I don't try to get my hopes up on specific ways anymore, specific paths, because it never pans out. This weekend, a couple days ago, Michelle, the lady who does videos now and then on here, she sent me a link to this really, really awesome website. And it's for a guy who did traditional Chinese medicine, especially like with acupuncture, but all of the herbal things and all of that. Really awesome website. And the page that she directed me to, it had to do with benzos and SSRIs and different kinds of things. A lot of links to articles and really, really good stuff. The guy, he's probably like a genius, except I'm looking at this website and thinking, like, this is the perfect guy to email about this acupuncture and that whole thing that I've been thinking about. So I'm going down, I'm scrolling down on this page that she sent me, and at the very bottom it says, sadly, this particular individual passed away. Okay. And then I looked up his obituary and so forth, and he actually passed away. I have no idea how. July of last year, in 2016. So, and I think he was the only one employed there. Maybe one other person. I don't know. And I don't know if that business still exists or not. It was in San Francisco, California. That was upsetting. It's almost like, and I'm not a paranoid person. I really am not. I'm not like big into conspiracy, kinds of things. But it just seems every path I try to take and find someone to get involved, it never pans out. No one ever responds. Something happens and I don't get to hear from anyone. And Michelle sent me an email this morning. I had told her, like, this guy actually is no longer alive. And she said, like, things are very creepy. Because she knew someone who had gone through withdrawal, I think, and had written something. And just, they died unexpectedly somehow, too. It's just, it makes me wonder. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a spiritual conspiracy or what it is, but it's just, this is like, I was thinking about this morning when I got up. This is all like scaling a wall to find the answer. And we have the ropes, like we're climbing up the rope. We think like, okay, I think this could actually be something that's going to really, really help, maybe work. And you kind of get up to the top and like you're ready to jump over, and there are guards up there with guns, and like they kick at you and stuff, and you fall back down, or else they shoot you. I don't know. It's just weird. You think like, okay, I'm making progress here. I'm going to do it. And just even making the progress is not that simple. And then you get to where you think, okay, I'm going to get over the wall here now, and they push you back down, or they shoot you. It's just weird. That was weird, because she sent me that, and I thought, this guy's a genius. This is the guy. And then, nope, he's not here anymore. I've been getting a ton of questions in the last probably week about CBD oil, cannabinoid oil. I don't know if there's a big marketing campaign going on now or what. But I've been getting a lot of them in the last few. I've been seeing a lot of things on Facebook, people putting memes on about CBD oil and how this is like you get the feeling like people are beginning to believe this is a miraculous thing that's going to provide all kinds of healing. Anyway, I've been asked by a number of people, like, what do you think about CBD oil? And I've talked about it in the past some, but I've heard some good things by some people. I've heard bad things where people apparently got set back from it, and a lot of indifferent. Like where somebody, just last week, somebody sent me an email, and they tried it, and they thought at first it didn't help, and they kept taking it. It's not doing anything. It's doing nothing. So I don't know. With respect to benzo withdrawal, okay, my basic thought is that it probably has merit if you're in general health. Like it probably does like some good things for someone who is in health right now. But in withdrawal, we're not actually in health. We're not a healthy organism right now because there's something wrong, obviously. So to me, it's anybody's guess how you will react to it. As I said, I've seen people, it made no difference whatsoever. They couldn't tell anything. Some people it made considerably worse. Some people say, yeah, I think it's better. I think I'm doing better. So one thing is for sure, it's not likely that it's any kind of cure for benzo withdrawal or withdrawal from anything, because It activates cannabinoid receptors. There are two cannabinoid receptors, two kinds in our bodies, like they're in our brain. They're throughout our body, actually, apparently. So it's not going to be a cure for benzo withdrawal or any other kind of withdrawal, I don't think. It could maybe help with symptoms for some people, but apparently for some people it revs them up too, so I don't, but there is a lot of hype lately over this, and I think it probably has a lot to do with the marketing and so forth, and I mean, I hate to say it, but like a lot of things are about money, you know. I don't know what's going on, but I know I've gotten a lot of questions lately about it. Until I see something like a little bit more conclusive, I'm really not a believer. And I know a lot of people think it can cure anything, it can do all kinds of miraculous, wondrous things. But I'm thinking, I know a number of people have tried it, and I would think that if it is this miracle kind of thing, that you would read a lot of things on Facebook and in the groups like this. I tried this. This is awesome. This is great. This healed me. I'm better now. I've never seen one of those. Maybe somebody has been helped greatly by it. But it's also like, in many ways, it's like all of these different drugs that we have been drugged with. For some people, these drugs provide like some sort of benefit. They help them in some way. They really, really do. That's not usually the rule. To me, that's sort of like an exception. But there are individuals who are helped by these drugs. I mean, why can one person take like Paxil and like it helps them to some degree, and someone like me takes it and like I'm immediately suicidal? I don't know why that is, but I think CBD oil probably is similar to that. Some people will react well to it, some will react terribly. It's just, and I know it's not the same thing, but a lot of people that I have known in withdrawal who smoked some weed, some marijuana, some did okay, and a lot of people, it set them way back. So it's so person specific, this whole thing. I don't know. So I don't know about CBD oil. I'm not a believer. I probably would not try it. I probably would not. Although when I was in withdrawal, I didn't know a whole lot. I tried various kinds of things that did not help, including psych drugs, and made me much, much worse. And I'm probably very fortunate to have gotten past some of those things, because some of them made me pretty bad. Okay, and I have one email here. Let me see what time I have. I'm not reading today. My book is finished, so I don't have to. I'm not going to be doing that. So I can. I got a lot of questions on this too lately. Part of this, the part that I responded to. Let me see. I'll read the email and then read my response, and then I want to talk. The response was about one part of the email, but I would like to talk about some of the other things too, I think. It says, "Hi, Don. I've emailed you a couple times in the past. I've been off Valium for a year now, which I had been on for 10 years. I came off it because of all the physical and mental symptoms I was suffering with that continued to worsen every year that passed. I too have not had many windows and am still suffering immensely with both physical and mental stuff that is pure torture. The anxiety is the hardest to deal with for me because it's still so extreme. After a 3-month taper and 12 months being benzo-free, I'm still housebound. I suspect that the anxiety is why I'm still suffering from so many other symptoms, but I'm not sure. I can live with the physical stuff, but the mental stuff is so crippling and keeping me housebound. I can't figure out where benzo withdrawal ends and the real me starts. I held off taking an antidepressant for a year now, but don't think I can do it much longer. I'm pretty much getting to the end of what I can take with this anxiety, so I am considering going on a low dose of Remeron as a trial, but am afraid to take any more psychiatric drugs of any kind. I heard you talk about your experience with Remeron numerous times on your videos, which I listen to every day and find them soothing when you're going through this hell. You said that you were taking it for sleep and appetite and that it helped. You also said that you tried to get off it a couple times but could not until you felt more recovered. You did say it did nothing for your depression because you were not really taking a stimulating or therapeutic dose to help with that. What would happen to you when you tried to stop it? Did it help with your anxiety? What was the reason you could not come off it early on? Was it because it would cause your anxiety to get worse? Did you get revved up when you tried to stop it? The reason I ask is because I have taken it in a very small dose about once every 10 days for sleep and have found that it seems to calm me down for a day or two, but then I end up going back to hell again. I can't quite understand how taking it so sporadically could have any anti-anxiety effect that would last for a day or two from taking 7.5 milligrams of it. What you do is very much appreciated by all of us who are suffering immensely and have lost ourselves and our lives to these poisons. Okay, thanks, Don. Okay, and I did respond to him. I'll read that and then maybe go back and talk a little bit more about some other stuff. Okay, my response. My Remeron experience was interesting. I did take it for a total of 2 years, typically at a dose of 15 milligrams a day for sleep and appetite. I believe the first time I attempted to come off was around 12 months benzo-free. I was able to go a few days until symptoms returned, primarily insomnia and anxiety. I tried again a couple months later and had the same experience. I suspect the delay in the return of the insomnia and anxiety had something to do with the half-life of Remeron, which is 20 to 40 hours, which is fairly long. Perhaps enough stayed in my body to get me to 2 or 3 days until the symptoms returned, especially if I am a slow metabolizer of Remeron, meaning the half-life for me may be around the 40-hour mark. That could also be why intermittent doses for you seem to help for a couple days before symptoms return. It's really hard to put one's finger on anything relating to withdrawal and these drugs and come to a definite conclusion. More often than not, it seems to be a trial and error proposition. When I was finally well from my withdrawal, I came off the Remeron pretty easily. That was at about 18 months. You do know that you tolerate Remeron, so that is a positive thing. Okay, yeah, so I had never really given it a whole lot of thought, but Remeron does have a relatively long half-life compared to a lot of the psych drugs. And maybe this particular individual and I, maybe the 40-hour half-life is more, appropriate, meaning that enough could actually be staying in the body to be therapeutic as far as maybe anxiety. I don't know. But after, I remember both times, like I made it a while, and then like the anxiety of all the mental stuff, the anxiety came back. The insomnia was bad, and then that just adds to the anxiety too because you're not sleeping. But I don't know. That was my experience. I don't. He could be a slow metabolizer too, and maybe like every so many days he takes a small dose and it stays in his body for a while at a therapeutic dose, maybe for anxiety or sleep, and then then the hell returns after that. I don't know. It's really hard to say about any of this. Like coming up with anything that is conclusive, it really is difficult. Okay, I want to go back and talk about some of the other things here, maybe that that he mentioned. Okay, both physical and mental. Be able to live with the physical stuff. That's how it was for me, but the mental it was crippling. It was just debilitating. Okay, I can't figure out where the benzo withdrawal ends and the real me starts. I hear that a lot, and that was true for me too. It's like we lose ourselves. It's almost like you can't find yourself. You're lost. And I have described it before. When I started to feel well, it was like I could see myself again. I could recognize myself. It's like the real us has taken a vacation or gone somewhere or is hiding. And then when we start to feel well, we can see ourselves returning. We can feel the old us. All of the feelings that we used to have, we remember what those were like. I know in withdrawal, we often are afraid, like when I return, who am I going to be? Am I going to be somebody completely different? And that's not really the case. You remember who you were then, but typically you're actually better. You're an improved version. You're still the same person, but you can tell like you have gained like various strengths and so forth. Okay, let me see what else. I think that maybe that's all I want to see. Yeah, I think that's all I'll talk about here. But yeah, his questions. When I tried to stop it, the anxiety and the insomnia returned. Those were the two biggies. It didn't really help the physical stuff at all. And it didn't help depression. The depression was, without the fear, the big fear and anxiety, the depression, was still bad, but it was bearable. It was bearable, but the anxiety and the fear that it did help with that some apparently. I don't know. I don't know exactly why. I don't know. And it apparently did help with anxiety. It did. Okay, what was the reason you could not come off early on symptoms? Yeah. And I got revved up when I tried to stop, but I could just feel like that I was going backwards. It just felt like I was going backwards again. So, yeah. So that's that one. Yeah, Remeron, like for this particular individual, a lot of people like, and I'm not a big advocate or advertiser for Remeron or anything. I really am not. But for me, a lot of people can't tolerate it, like flat out, they can't tolerate it. Some people have a paradoxical reaction to it immediately. That was not the case for me. Of all of the different drugs I was on, starting back in 1997 up till when I got into withdrawal, Remeron was the only one I could tolerate. I could not tolerate anything else, other than some like the Vistaril. I took Vistaril. That was a rather innocuous thing for me, and some of the Vistaril, but the rest pretty much intolerable. I just could not handle them. So for this particular individual, he's tolerating the Remeron, so maybe, excuse me, that's a positive thing. It could be the reason I got through withdrawal the way I did. I don't know. It helped me sleep. It honestly did, and it gave me an appetite. I could not eat. My digestive system was really messed up. The first 6 weeks or so of my withdrawal experience was just horrendous. Like I could not eat, and I lost a lot of weight. So I mean, this particular person, like, if he can tolerate it, if it, he's doing well with it when he takes it, maybe, I don't know. I'm not an advocate one way or the other. I am an advocate of like doing anything that will help get you through, help you survive every single day until you get well again. That's what I am an advocate of. If that means another drug, if you do happen to take something else and it helps you to get to that point where you start to feel better, then I guess I'm an advocate for feeling better. Anything that you can do to help you, improve and get to the place of wellness, that's what I'm for. I'm not a purist by any means. I'm not an advocate for drugs, but I'm not like an advocate against all drugs either, because I know people who have done well on drugs, so I can't, who may not be here otherwise without the drugs. So I can't be the purist that some people are in that way. So that's what I have. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting with this individual next Thursday to have lunch. Todd. He's working with, mentally disabled veterans. I think out of the Veterans VA Hospital. That's the Lebanon VA Hospital, which is awesome. It would be cool to kind of go down there and sit with men and talk with them and so on, and maybe, probably not their doctors. They're not going to talk to me, but talk to them and see what's going on. I did see another, I think I talked about this in one of the last videos. I did see another video of the doctors where Dr. Lipov was on there again, the guy that does the stellate ganglion block, and like still having good results. I mean, he's reporting good results. So you read like different kinds of analyses, evaluations of this, and they say, well, they're saying it's placebo. I don't believe that. I don't even believe that. But maybe that's just a ploy. I don't know. It's something. It's just, of all of the things I've done and trying to get people even just to discuss something with me, it has not happened. It just has not happened. I don't know why that is, but it is. So anyway, I'm heading for 30 minutes here. You see, the rest of the day here will be, I'm not sure. It's heading toward 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I probably have some emails to answer here, and then maybe, I'm not sure what I'm going to do tonight, for the rest of this day. Steelers play tonight. They're playing, I think, the Cincinnati Bengals, so I'll watch that. Over the weekend, the college games, Ohio State won, but they're not in the Final Four. I was glad for that, because I thought they might be, because there were commentators like after the game, like, well, they won the Big Ten championship, they should actually be in the Final Four. And I thought, well, if that happens, last year Penn State won the Big Ten championship, and they weren't in the Final Four. So I'm glad to see that Ohio State's not in it. So it's going to be Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, and who's the other? I forget who the other one is. Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma. Okay, and of all of those, looks like I'm going to be a Georgia fan for the championship. So I'm going to be, because Clemson won last year. I really don't care for Alabama. And Oklahoma, I don't like the quarterback. He's not a man of great character. He's great. He's an awesome football player though, but he lacks in character there, I think, a bit. So anyway, and he'll probably win the Heisman anyway, the Heisman Trophy. But gonna be a Dogs fan for the rest of as far as the championship goes. Penn State, I think, is in the Fiesta Bowl. They'll be playing, I think, Washington. That'd be a good game. I'm not sure if they've ever played Washington. Not in recent years anyway. That'll be fun to watch. I don't have all the anxiety about them like being in the Final Four and trying to win the championship because they're not in the Final Four. So bowl games are always fun to watch. It's just like a treat. And there's always like 40-some bowl games. It's like if you have a winning season, you get in a bowl. That's crazy. But I remember back when there were like 4 or 5 bowls, and that was it. There was, like the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Gator Bowl, the Cotton Bowl. And then there was another one, the Orange Bowl. They were the 5 bowls. There were no other bowls. And then slowly over the years, there were more bowls, and until we got like 40-some. Now it's insane. But again, it's money. It's about making money, and traveling, making money, advertising, all that stuff. But we just can't escape it in this culture, in this society. It's the way it is. So anyway, hope things are going well for you. You're getting some improvement. Just remember, you are healing every single day, even though it probably doesn't feel like it a lot of the time. You are healing. Your brain is figuring this out. Your CNS is figuring it out. It takes some of its time. That's just the way this is. But it is happening. It does happen. It's happening. And I'm hoping that for each one of you, you start to notice some improvement, because I know it's very, very difficult to go when you notice nothing good, and it plays on your mind, and you start to get scared, and you get anxiety, and you think like, well, I'm going to be one of those people that never gets well. But everybody's healing. It's just sad that it takes so long for some of us. But while you are healing, there is good stuff going on too. When you get to the end and you're well, and like you'll be able to look back and say, wow, that I don't want to go through it again, but I can see where I did benefit in different kinds of ways because I went through that. But I know that's hard to believe right now, but it is true. So anyway, I'll be back probably Wednesday. If I don't have much. I have emails now and different kinds of things that I notice in groups and forums that I can talk about. I was thinking about like the worldwide withdrawal warrior thing. Maybe reading those rules and things again, those pillars and truths. I know a lot of people skipped over those, though. I know you did. And it is on the in the video room. There is a link to that. I hope every now and then you read those, because or it's a video actually of that. That you watch that, because they are truths. They are truths. Every one of those dozen, there's 12, are true. And I think it's good a lot of times just to listen to them or read them, remind yourself of the truths, because they continue to be true. They never grow old. They're never wrong. They're always true. And then the promises too. I love the promises. I still like to listen to the promises, primarily from Alcoholics Anonymous, but promises are really good. They're very hopeful. So anyway, I'm closing in on 34 minutes here. Take care. I'll be back Wednesday. If you have questions or anything, just email me, and I'll get back to you and probably talk about some of your questions here on a video. So take care. As always, I'm right here, and I will be right here. Bye-bye.